All right, welcome back. It's been a minute since I've done a video. So this is going to be a little update, what's going on. I don't have too much going on these days because I finished most of the builds. I'm just kind of doing some final things, setup issues, going back and fixing some stuff, which is kind of where this video is. But before I get going, I don't talk too much politics on here, but if you know me, I don't, I speak my mind, I don't lie. And I usually, most of the time, I'm wrong occasionally, and I'll admit that when I am. But I try to post facts and talk about things that I have read and researched and know facts. So that leads into this day and age a lot of interesting things. So, and I hate to say it, it's political. And I've had some recent people. One, I wasn't shocked. I mean, the guy drives around in boats with people that have Nazi flags on their boats. So I wasn't too shocked. But the other person, I was pretty shocked. I ain't gonna lie. We're friends, kind of acquaintances. I mean, we talk at, Kentucky Jets and maybe another event that I've ever seen him at. But that's it. So I don't ever, talk to these guys. And, for you to just pop up on my Facebook page and start insulting me when I'm just posting facts and telling me to, shut up and just build jets that you're not going to change anybody's mind. I'm like, I don't give a crap. I'm not there to change your mind. I'm just doing what I think is right and telling, posting facts and truth. So fine. I served 20 years to, protect your right to be a douche, freedom of speech. I'm not like the current administration that's trying to stop that and prosecute people that have freedom of speech. So I respect your right to say what you want to say and do what you want to do. But when you're jumping on my page and insulting me, it ain't gonna happen. So, friend list gets small really quick this day and age, which is fine. But just don't jump on my page, my public pages, and blast insults when you're wrong and have no facts. So especially when it has nothing to do, especially when you don't ever talk to me and you're just somebody that happens to be on my Facebook page. So if your shit gets deleted, that's why. But anyways, back to the cool stuff. So here we go. So the F-15 is done. I think I finished up the videos on this showing you the cockpit. The cockpit's all done and everything. And something I didn't realize until after the fact, this is actually not a twin seat canopy. Like they just stuck a back seat in there. So if you look at it, and if you just take one seat out, it actually looks like the normal, what is that, a C model? I don't know what they call it, but I don't think it was intentionally supposed to be the D model or whatever it is, the twin seat. But anyways, but it's done. Setup's good. So I just got to get the maiden done and everything. I've done the CG as well. Everything is balanced like it needs to be. So now it's just kind of like a setup, a final check, and then, test engines, do some taxi test, and go fly. So next time I get out to do that, this will be the priority. So I jumped back to this one a little bit. This is my A7, flies really good. I've been having some issue with the landing gear. When you hit the brakes, it'll do this and essentially it'll blur and it starts hitting things and damaging stuff. And it's been an issue since I got it because of the whole mold wax in the actual formers. So the formers that hold the landing gear and stuff are coming loose from the actual skin. And so some of that was part of the issue here. So what I did is put some bracing in on the back side against this bulkhead to keep that, because you could already see from where I glued it last time and cleaned out that old epoxy that wasn't holding, it was starting to crack along the bottom because there's only a small area, because the bulkhead They had cut out originally the scale. The gear had like a trailing link that went back, so there was a cutout for that. They ditched that and just went with this 2-link thing, but the hole in the actual bulkhead is still there, and there's a very small area along the bottom that actually glues to the frame, and it breaks loose. Still some slop on that side, but I got most of it out, so hopefully that will be will be good enough. It actually hits this back frame and starts crushing it, so we'll see how that goes. The only other thing to do at this point is maybe to put a stop on it to when the gear comes back. It's sitting right on a piece of wood or something, so it can't go back anymore, and hopefully get some, but there's very little slop now that I got that bottom of that bulkhead secured. So but yeah, I fixed that, and I'm working on the cockpit. I had a 3D printed seat that I had done, and this is it. This one I think actually I printed, which is for the F-22, so I don't know why I got to take this back off and put it on this one. But this is actually the seat for the A7, and what'll end up happening is it'll get chopped off right about here, because you can see the bucket here is they didn't send me the piece that goes right here, and that's what you get with these little side panels. So what I'm going to do is chop all this out and essentially just glue in that, because I'm not going to have this whole bottom piece, because you can't, because all this stuff right here. So it'll essentially just be kind of like because this would only have a bust pilot, it'll just be the bust up and give a little bit of scale. And this is a little bit heavy one. This was one that his first prints, and so it was a little bit heavier resin printer than I like, but I do have BBs up here in the nose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in, I'm going to check CG, and I should be able to take, if not all of the BBs out, about half of the pack out, and we'll be good to go. So I'm not really adding any weight per se with that. I'm just adding a heavier seat and removing some of the pre-existing weight. And that's the A7. So this will be done, and little stuff, upkeep. The SU is done. I am kind of going back and fixing some things, which I'll explain here in a minute. What was tearing me up on this was the damn gyros. I have ditched the Futaba gyros just because they are impossible to set up. They don't work with what I do with these advanced setups very well. So I went back to the Cortex, and I was having a lot of trouble getting the thing to work. Like, it would go through the receiver learn, go through the actual control surface learn, everything looked perfect. You pull the jumper off, power it down, power it back up, it initializes it, and it just blinks white. And it was driving me nuts, which is what I had going on with the SU and the Mcotech. So that's why I originally said, well, I'll go try these Futabas to see if I can find a better gyro system. Well, after days, I spent 3 or 4 days working with these gyros and the Futaba programming, I found the issue. And it's all freaking Futaba. Like, I don't understand it. Like, you would think it wouldn't matter what channel and what default, like, elevator 1, elevator 2, rudder 1, rudder 2. If you put them in certain places and do the learn, it will not see the second control surface. So when you initialize and it starts flashing white, it's because it doesn't see that second servo, because of the way the Futaba arranges and sees stuff. It took me forever to figure it out. And it's weird, because sometimes if I would use, like, say, elevator 2, when I go to function and I select channel 7 elevator 2, you look back there and you would have to put null, because if you assigned it to an actual axis on your stick on your radio, it wouldn't move, and vice versa, depending on where you put it. So I essentially, you have to be careful where you put your control surfaces in your channels, essentially, is what it ended up being. And you have to make sure they're all working properly, very carefully, which I did. It's just, if you don't put all your control surfaces on the lower channels, it doesn't work. Which is, I think, was which now that I think back, which I think is what the problem was with my Incotech systems. So hopefully now I can get those Incotech power systems working with the Cortex, so I didn't, waste all that money buying as many as I could find, because they don't make them anymore. Because I love that setup, because that's like a true S-Bus, and how S-Bus should be, in my opinion, kind of a setup. So anyways, we'll see how that goes when I go to finish the SU, or God, I'm saying SU so much, the F-22. But so I got the gyro working now, and I got to go through and check I got a little amp meter to check all the amps for each control surface as part of the LM2 inspection. And before I go do that, I kind of took a break and kind of went back, and when I was putting the control surfaces on so I could check amps, one of the little arms on the lollipop mechanism here that you push up and you slide the stab in, and it's got like a lock in the lollipop, it broke off, and that kind of reminded me to check some things, because the little lollipop that they cut out in here, it's kind of hard to see. Kind of hard to see there. Wasn't seating all the way down on the actual shaft. So I had to take a Dremel, and I had to cut that top area, which, let me get that on there. Like right there, I had to trim that area right there. I don't know if you guys can see that laser pointing area, but I had to trim that a little bit more. And then this front side wasn't in allowing the shaft to come all the way through, because when I tighten these bolts down for these mechanisms, it pulled it that way some. So I had to just do some fitting, and I'm pretty sure the other side's the same way. So I got to take it back off and clean it up. Got to turn that. There we go. But that's just simple things. She is done. Once I get all the radio functions set back up, and I'll do a final CG check, and it'll just be waiting for a maiden at that point. So getting there. The only other thing I really have to do after this is I have to pull the big giant minion jet out, and I got to fix that, find a way to kind of help secure that. I've kind of got an idea how I'm going to do it. Fix that nose gear, or the nose door that kind of keeps pulling open in flight. It's just because the way it's shaped, the front end is so far forward on like the angle up that the air kind of hits it, and it just pushes it right down. And it's not overpowering the servo, it's just flexing the door. So I'm going to put some kind of lock on the front side of that door when it's up. So, and I'll probably use another servo with like a little Velcro and like a little hook to just kind of hold it up. Magnets may or may not work. I don't know. I might try that first, but probably not. I'm probably just going to be, say screw it and just do like a little servo on it. So probably a long-winded video. Yeah, 13-14 minutes. Okay. So there you go. Again, apologize for the rant at the beginning. Not what the channel is typically about, but I kind of talk about a little bit of everything. So. But that being said, we're not going to have these insulting things when I'm just posting facts or something on my personal page, period. So you want to talk that kind of stuff, you know where I'm at when I'm at events, so you can come talk to me that way. But most people don't do that. So, all right. And that's it. So you guys have a good one. I'm going to get a beer and keep at it. So until next time, cheers.